Desperate search underway for missing fishermen after boat found abandoned. The news desk reports, a desperate search is underway for two fishermen who went missing after departing Crabwood Creek on Tuesday. The men were expected to arrive at the three-door sluice in Rossignol, Region 5, around 1700 hours but never reached their destination. Their boat, along with its engine and other belongings, was later discovered abandoned at the Tain foreshore on the Corentyne coast. One of the missing men has been identified as 17-year-old Vishal Parmanand of Cotton Tree, West Coast Burbus. The identity of the second individual remains unconfirmed at this time. Speaking with the news desk, Parmanand's brother revealed that the family had recently purchased a new fishing vessel constructed in Crabwood Creek. Arrangements were made for the vessel to be transported to Region 5, with Vishal and another man tasked with the journey. According to the brother, Vishal was expected to arrive by 1700 hours on Tuesday. However, when family members attempted to contact him that morning, an unknown individual answered the phone. This person claimed he found the phone ringing near the abandoned vessel and decided to answer it. He informed the family that the boat was located at the Tain foreshore, with its engine and belongings intact, but the two men were nowhere to be found. Region 6 Police Commander Shivprasad Bacchus confirmed that an investigation is underway into the disappearance of the two individuals, identified as a 17-year-old and a 32-year-old. Neither of the men, he noted, are licensed boat captains. Investigations are ongoing. Laborer charged with attempting to obstruct justice. Tyrone Tyrese Trial, a 20-year-old laborer from Lima Sand, Essequibo Coast, was arrested and charged with attempting to obstruct the course of justice, in violation of Section 330 of the Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 801. The accused appeared at the Suddy Magistrates Court on Wednesday, April 2, 2025, before Her Worship Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charge was presented to him. Trial entered a plea of not guilty, and bail was granted in the sum of $250,000. The matter has been adjourned to April 17, 2025. Laborer drowns after collapsing in canal at Crabwood Creek. Newsroom. A tragic incident occurred on Wednesday morning when a laborer collapsed and drowned in a canal at Crabwood Creek, Corentyne Burbus. The man has been identified as 30-year-old Bedor Totaram, who was reportedly homeless. According to reports, Totaram's body was recovered from the Sideline Dam Canal in Crabwood Creek around 7:30 a.m. Authorities were notified, and investigations revealed no signs of foul play. Totaram's remains were transported to Skeldon Hospital, where a post-mortem examination is anticipated to take place shortly. It has been reported that Totaram had a history of epilepsy. Two bandits, ages 15 and 22, fatally shot during foiled supermarket robbery. Two other suspects fled the scene. Two armed bandits were shot and killed last evening, April 8, 2025, during a foiled robbery at Jai Jai Supermarket, located on Hatfield Street, Georgetown. The deceased have been identified as 15-year-old Tyrese Adams of Pineapple Street, East Ruimveldt, and 22-year-old Orwin Garraway of 595 East Ruimveldt Housing Scheme. According to police investigations around 1930 HRS, four identifiable males of African descent, armed with handguns, attempted to rob the Chinese-operated supermarket managed by 31-year-old Gan Zhang. The lower flat of the premises houses two cashier booths, and at the time of the incident, a 35-year-old armed security guard was on duty with a 9mm pistol and 15 rounds of ammunition. Two of the suspects, dressed in dark clothing and wearing black ski masks, entered the supermarket. One targeted the eastern cashier booth and pointed a firearm at the male cashier, demanding money. The second suspect began ransacking the western cashier booth. The security guard responded swiftly, confronting the assailants. Both suspects attempted to flee. One collapsed inside the supermarket, while the other fell onto the road about 15 feet west of the entrance. Meanwhile, the remaining two accomplices who were standing outside fled westward along Hatfield Street and escaped. Police discovered two Haojue motorcycles parked in front of the supermarket, one without a number plate, the other bearing registration number CP623, both with keys still in the ignition. Emergency services were summoned, and both suspects were pronounced dead at the scene by Dr. Kelman from the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC. Crime scene investigators recovered a Glock 17 pistol with 8 matching rounds next to one of the deceased. Inside the supermarket, officers found 1 live 9mm round, 13 spent 9mm shells, 3 bullet fragments. On the roadway in front of the supermarket, 1 spent shell, 3 additional fragments. The deceased sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Orwin Garraway, injuries to both sides of his ribs, hands, nose, and right shoulder. Tyrese Adams, injuries to his upper right shoulder, stomach, lower back, and left hip. All ballistic evidence has been sealed and lodged for analysis. CCTV footage from the supermarket was reviewed and extracted. Several individuals have since been questioned, and efforts continue to locate the remaining suspects. The bodies of Garraway and Adams have been transported to the Memorial Gardens funeral home, pending post-mortem examinations. Investigations are ongoing. Albuistown man denies gun charge, released on $150,000 bail. Guyana Times, an Albuistown, Georgetown resident was released on $150,000 bail after being charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. Gavin Newman appeared before Senior Magistrate Fabio Azor at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where he entered a not guilty plea. The charge arises from an incident that reportedly occurred on April 4th at Hill Street, Albuistown. Police allege that Newman was found in possession of a 9mm pistol without a license. During the bail application hearing, Newman's attorney, Adrian Thompson, informed the court that his client has a fixed place of residence and no prior criminal convictions. Thompson argued that Newman was not in possession of a firearm at the time of his arrest and that he had been taken into custody alongside another individual. According to the prosecution, law enforcement officers observed Newman inside a vehicle with a bag. It was alleged that as officers approached, he dropped the bag and a firearm was later found on his person. Thompson challenged this narrative, stating that Newman had been stopped at Ling Street, Georgetown, and had only been at Hill Street earlier that same day. He further explained that gunfire was heard at a nearby funeral, which may have led to the police incorrectly identifying his client as a suspect. He urged the court to consider these circumstances, asserting that there were special grounds for granting bail. After reviewing the submissions, Magistrate Azor granted Newman $150,000 bail. The case is set to continue on May 27th. Roshan Khan addresses recent interaction with U.S. authorities. Statement from Roshan Khan Sr. I am writing to address recent posts circulating on social media that falsely allege my involvement in serious criminal activities. I want to clarify the following points. During a recent brief interview with U.S. authorities at JFK Airport, I was questioned solely about whether I knew Azruddin Mohammed and Nazar Mohammed. The interview was conducted in a highly professional manner, and I was neither detained nor arrested. Furthermore, my phone was never confiscated. I hold the United States and its rule of law in the highest regard. They have every right to question individuals entering their country as part of their national security protocols. Any insinuations or statements suggesting my involvement in human trafficking, drug trafficking, or gold smuggling are entirely false, reckless, and defamatory. I urge the public and the media to refrain from spreading misinformation. It is crucial to seek the truth before making or sharing damaging and defamatory allegations. My legal team has been instructed to take appropriate action against any individuals or parties who continue to publish or promote these falsehoods. Let us all strive for peace, truth, and justice. This is not the time for hysteria or division. Police investigate accident in Regional Division No. 2. Police in Regional Division No. 2 are investigating a serious accident that occurred on Saturday, April 5, 2025, at Coffee Grove Public Road on the Essequibo coast. The accident involved 2 motorcycles, CJ210, owned and driven by 39-year-old Leon Anderson, a carpenter from Henrietta, Essequibo Coast, and CF-3887, operated by 25-year-old Jason Shepard, a member of the Guyana Fire Service. Initial investigations revealed that Coffee Grove Public Road runs in a north-to-south direction. Both motorcycles were reportedly proceeding south along the eastern drive lane, with motorcycle CJ-210 in front. Motorcycle CF-3887, allegedly traveling at a high rate of speed, collided with the rear wheel of motorcycle CJ-210. As a result, both riders lost control and fell onto the roadway, sustaining injuries. Concerned citizens quickly responded and transported the injured men, who were unconscious at the time, to Suddy Public Hospital for medical attention. They were examined by a doctor upon arrival. Leon Anderson was admitted to the Intensive Care Unit, ICU, while Jason Shepard was placed in Ward 2, male. Officers from the traffic department visited the scene to conduct a thorough investigation. Both motorcycles have been lodged at the Anna Regina Police Station for examination by a licensing and certifying officer. Further investigations are ongoing. Essequibo gold miner arrested in Soku operation. In a concerted effort to combat gold smuggling and related illicit activities, the Special Organized Crime Unit, Soku, conducted a joint intelligence-led operation on April 7, 2025, at the premises of Essequibo businessman and gold miner Ramanan Ganesh, known as Goldman, in Middlesex, Essequibo Coast. The operation resulted in the seizure of 2 illegal firearms and a substantial quantity of cash. During this targeted operation, Soku apprehended Ramanand Ganesh and his wife, Valina Ganesh, who are now in custody and assisting with ongoing investigations related to gold smuggling and money laundering. This latest action is part of a broader national strategy aimed at dismantling criminal networks involved in gold smuggling and various forms of organized crime. The Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, reaffirms its commitment to investigating and prosecuting gold smugglers and money launderers while maintaining the integrity of Guyana's natural resources sector and ensuring that those who violate the law are brought to justice. Brazilian businessman charged with 5 counts of money laundering, over $81 million in cash and $112 million in gold seized. On April 7, 2025, the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, filed 5 charges of money laundering against the director of Gago Gold Incorporated, Brazilian national Sebastião de Oliveira Moura. The 43-year-old businessman was previously charged for failing to maintain and present a financial book to an authorized officer in violation of Section 9(4) of the Guyana Gold Board Act, Chapter 66:01. Sebastião de Oliveira Moura appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty at the Georgetown Magistrates Court I, where he was not required to plead to the 5 indictable charges of money laundering, which contravene Section 3(1)(c) of the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act, Chapter 1011. The court granted Moura bail in the sum of $1,750,000 on the 5 counts, with the cases adjourned until April 22, 2025, for disclosure. According to Deputy Commissioner Fazil Karambaksh, head of SOCU, investigations began on February 7, 2024, following a joint intelligence-led operation involving officers from SOCU, the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Guyana Gold Board, GGB, and the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, GGMC. This operation included a search of Sebastião Moura's business premises located at Lot 19 Albert Street, Borda, Georgetown, for local and foreign currencies, checks, electronic devices, precious stones, gold, and financial records. During the search, authorities discovered GY $81,101,200 in cash, US $6,057, and SRD $240. Along with 4,018.15 pennyweights of gold valued at GY $112,588,563 and diamonds weighing 3.5 grams. Following an extensive investigation lasting over a year, SOCU brought charges based on the assertion that the seized money, gold, and diamonds are tainted properties linked to money laundering and gold smuggling, constituting proceeds of crime under Section 3(1)(c) of the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act, 2009, Cap 1011. The summary of all money laundering charges indicates that Sebastião de Oliveira Moura acquired or possessed the cash, gold, and diamonds while knowing or having reasonable grounds to believe that these assets were derived, in whole or in part, directly or indirectly, from criminal proceeds. Relative of teen bandit shot dead says he used to be "de pun stupidness." Newsroom. 15-year-old Tyrese Adams was one of the two bandits shot dead while attempting to rob the Jia supermarket on Hatfield Street in Georgetown on Tuesday night. Adams' family has been speaking out in the wake of his death. One of his relatives, in a brief video posted on Facebook, expressed regret, admitting that Tyrese used to be involved in "de pun stupidness." "They just killed my big son. They just killed him by," the relative stated. "Even though he was involved in foolishness, they killed him. He and his friend went to rob the Chinese just now." "Well, that's how life goes," the relative lamented. Meanwhile, the teenager's aunt, Khalida Adams, shared her heartache over his choices, expressing disappointment in the path he chose. Khalida wished Tyrese had just listened. "Rest up, my nephew. God is with you regardless. You weren't no angel, but your family still loves you. Only if you had listened, just listened. But God knows best," Khalida wrote in a post on Facebook. Tyrese was among 4 armed, masked bandits who attempted to rob the supermarket. A 35-year-old security guard on duty confronted the bandits and opened fire, fatally wounding 2 of them. The second deceased bandit has been identified as Orwin Garraway. Upon entering the supermarket, the bandits attempted to rob the cashiers. The armed guard confronted them, and both Tyrese and Orwin attempted to flee. However, one of them collapsed inside the supermarket, while the other made it outside before collapsing on the roadway. The 2 other bandits waiting outside the supermarket escaped west along Hatfield Street, leaving behind 2 motorcycles. Police recovered a Glock 17 pistol loaded with 8 rounds next to one of the bodies. Additionally, 14 spent 9mm shells for fragments and 1 live round were found at the scene. Driver arrested for multiple traffic offenses. Keelan Benjamin, a 29-year-old driver from Lima Sand, Essequibo Coast, was arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including driving a motor vehicle while his breath alcohol level exceeded the prescribed limit, in violation of Section 39(1) of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. He was also charged with driving without a license, contrary to Section 23(1) of the same act, and operating an unregistered motor vehicle, in violation of Section 11 of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. The accused appeared at the Suddy Magistrates Court on Wednesday, April 2, 2025, before Her Worship Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charges were read to him. Benjamin pleaded guilty to all charges and was fined as follows: $150,000 or 3 months imprisonment for driving while over the legal alcohol limit, $20,000 or 1 month's imprisonment for unlicensed driving, $10,000 or 2 weeks imprisonment for operating an unregistered vehicle. River patrol and eradication exercise. Firearm, ammunition, and narcotics seized. A successful joint services patrol and eradication exercise was conducted along the Kange River on Tuesday, April 8, 2025. During the operation at Equora, Kange River, a camp was searched, but no illegal items were found. However, a further search approximately 200 yards east of the camp resulted in the discovery of a 12-gauge shotgun, 2 live 12-gauge cartridges, and 1 spent shell. Additionally, at Petty, Kange River, the team uncovered a cultivated cannabis plot consisting of approximately 20,000 suspected cannabis plants, ranging from 3 to 5 feet in height. A camp was also located on site. A search of the camp led to the discovery of 4 live 12-gauge cartridges. The cannabis plants and camp were subsequently destroyed by fire, with an estimated weight of 176 kilograms and a street value of approximately $26,996,800 GYD. 1 suspect is in custody and is assisting with investigations. The firearms, cartridges, and spent shells were marked, sealed, and lodged at a station for further examination. Investigations are ongoing. Tragic shooting of West Demerara woman by security service owner after relationship ends. News source Guyana. A tragic incident occurred last evening in West Demerara, where 30-year-old Marissa Beat, an employee of the Ministry of Culture, was shot and killed by her estranged ex-boyfriend, Guyana Khan. Khan, who is currently hospitalized with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, reportedly acted out of retaliation after the couple ended their over 2-year relationship due to a misunderstanding. According to statements made by Beat's mother, Jennifer Vaughn, she advised her daughter against opening the door when Khan arrived at their home. Despite her warnings, Marissa insisted that she would speak with him. After going to the back of the house, Vaughn heard loud gunshots and rushed to the front, only to find her daughter bleeding on the ground, with Khan standing over her, gun in hand. Vaughn described her daughter's horrific injuries, noting a gunshot wound to Marissa's head. In a desperate attempt to intervene, Vaughn held onto Khan, who then fired another shot before pushing her aside and turning the gun on himself. Miraculously, Khan survived his self-inflicted injury. Community members, along with Vaughn, hurried Marissa to the West Demerara Hospital as police were alerted. Unfortunately, she was pronounced dead upon arrival, having suffered a critical gunshot wound just above her right eye. Police responded swiftly to the scene, apprehending Khan and escorting him to the same hospital for treatment. At the hospital, Khan underwent surgery and remains under police guard. Investigators recovered evidence, including 3 live rounds, from the murder scene. Guyana Khan, who was deported from the United States last year after serving 4 years for a drug trafficking conviction, had resumed his operation of integrated security service in Guyana on a smaller scale following his return. His criminal history raises further questions about his ability to wield a firearm and the safety of the community. This tragic event marks a heartbreaking reminder of the severe consequences of domestic violence and the importance of seeking help in abusive situations. Courtroom is not a marketplace. Magistrate to man trying to negotiate bail. Guyana Times. David Pierre Jr., a 34-year-old security guard charged with attempted murder, had his bail reduced during a virtual court appearance on Tuesday before Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty. Jr., who had initially been granted bail in the amount of $250,000 on February 28, expressed frustration as he appeared via Zoom in the Georgetown Magistrates Court. He claimed he had been unfairly imprisoned and denied justice. "I've been in here for 2 months. I keep asking them, the Guyana Prison Service, if I'm on bail, and they keep telling me no," he pleaded. Magistrate McGusty responded firmly, stating, "Sir, you've been on bail since February 28. You just haven't paid the bail." Jr. insisted he could access only $200,000, which he said his family would provide. He requested a reduction, explaining they could not come up with the remaining $50,000 needed for his release. However, Magistrate McGusty made it clear that the courtroom is not a place for bargaining. "This is not a market where someone sets a price and tries to cut it down," she informed him. "I called my price and you pick." Despite this, the magistrate did lower the bail amount by $25,000, adjusting it to $225,000. The charges against Jr. stem from a December 30, 2024, incident in which he allegedly wounded Anand Ramkissoon on Alexander Street, Georgetown, with intent to commit murder while in the company of another person. During his initial appearance on January 4, the court was informed that police had video footage implicating Jr., who reportedly admitted to chopping the victim. Jr. has maintained that the footage was incomplete and did not show how the altercation began, claiming he was also attacked during the incident and acted in self-defense. In January, the prosecution had objected to bail, citing the victim's critical condition and the serious nature of the charges, resulting in Jr. being remanded. During Tuesday's proceedings, the prosecution revealed they were still without the case file and had not received the necessary statements to proceed. The case has been adjourned until May 2. GECOM set to host 2025 general and regional elections by September. Charles Corbin. Kaider News. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, is on track to conduct the 2025 general and regional elections by late September, according to opposition-nominated Commissioner Charles Corbyn, who made the announcement on Tuesday. In a statement last month, President Irfan Ali affirmed that elections will be held by the end of the year, emphasizing that his government would not extend its tenure beyond its constitutional mandate. Speaking to reporters outside the GECOM office in Kingston, Georgetown, Corbyn noted that the commission was tasked with producing a work plan to outline the earliest possible date for the elections. At our request, we have submitted a work plan that indicates the earliest possible date, based on the Secretariat's independent assessments, for us to conduct the elections, he stated. Corbyn went on to explain that the submitted plan suggests late September as the earliest feasible date for the elections. He indicated that GECOM's initial review of the plan confirms that this timeline aligns with standard election practices, typically being scheduled between September 1st and December 1st. He stated, as long as the president does not call elections before GECOM's estimated timeframe, mid to late September remains a realistic target. Corbyn stressed that the Secretariat has confirmed it is not feasible to hold elections before late September. Additionally, he highlighted the internal processes necessary before elections can occur. There are internal timelines that must be adhered to between nomination day and election day, Corbyn explained. Based on our experience, procedures are involved in progressing from a preliminary list of electors, PLE, to a revised list of electors, RLE, along with the time required to post it. When these factors are taken into account, there are further considerations related to both legislation and practical matters. Corbyn also pointed out that political parties participating in the elections must have access to the list of electors to ensure they can gather nominators and candidates ahead of nomination day. While this access is not mandated by legislation, it is a significant factor that GECOM must address to ensure candidates can meet the legislative requirements in a timely manner, he concluded. No bail for Johannes Yaris Aka, too cute. Guyana Times. Johannes Yaris of Guyhawk Park, who faces multiple armed robbery charges and is known by the alias Too Cute, was further remanded to prison when he appeared before Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty at the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Tuesday. Yaris, 22, is facing 4 pending charges of armed robbery spanning several months, with stolen valuables totaling over $3 million. The prosecution informed the court that while the case file remains incomplete, a partial disclosure had been made. Consequently, Magistrate McGusty adjourned the matter to May 9, 2025, for full disclosure and continuation of proceedings. Yaris, who has been on remand since March 1st, was previously denied bail due to the seriousness of the charges, his alleged history of evading law enforcement, and concerns raised by the prosecution about him being a potential flight risk. At his initial appearance, the court heard that Yaris was implicated in a series of violent robberies that occurred between September 2024 and February 2025. These incidents include the armed robbery of David Granham on September 26, during which jewelry worth $1.1 million was stolen, and the February 19 robbery of Adrian Ally, from whom an iPhone 14 Pro Max valued at $200,000 was taken. Additionally, Yaris is charged in connection with 2 robberies committed on January 8 in South Ruimveldt. In the first, he allegedly robbed Candace Stewart of a Samsung cell phone, perfume, and cash, totaling $160,000. In the second incident, he is accused of robbing Shane Stewart of electronic items and personal belongings, including an iPhone, Apple Watch, AirPods, laptop, and whiskey, with a combined value exceeding $600,000. The prosecution previously revealed that Yaris had been evading arrest since September 2024. Upon his eventual capture in Rassville, Georgetown, he reportedly opened fire on police officers, who returned fire, striking him in the chest and pinky finger before taking him into custody. During an earlier hearing, his attorney had requested bail on medical grounds, citing injuries sustained during his arrest. However, the court was informed that these injuries resulted from him resisting arrest and endangering officers. Magistrate McGusty also noted that Yaris had a pending matter in Burbus and was already known to the police for similar offenses. When asked about the pending matter in court on Tuesday, Yaris's attorney stated she was unaware of its status and would follow up. Yaris, who was previously charged in June 2023 for robbing a cyclist along Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, is accused of committing a series of robberies while on bail in that case. He remains on remand as the prosecution continues to work on completing the case file. Government to fully fund CXC exam fees for up to 8 subjects for all students. On April 9, 2025, President Dr. Irfan Ali announced that starting this year, the government will fully cover the cost of Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, examination fees for up to 8 subjects for every student in both public and private schools. The cost for 8 CXC subjects can amount to approximately $46,500. However, it is often subsidized based on parents' income. With this new measure, families across the board will benefit from significant financial relief. Beginning this year, as I speak to you, parents are preparing to pay for their children's CXC fees. I have good news for you. Effective immediately, the government will cover the full cost for at least 8 subjects for every single child in public and private schools, the president announced. This initiative is part of the government's broader commitment to building a prosperous and unified future for all citizens. These are the policies that we are embracing. This is the future that we are creating. We are not a seasonal presence in your lives, the president stated. Approximately 600 patients received life-saving treatment for coronary diseases at GPHC in 2024. The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC, treated approximately 600 patients with coronary blockages in 2024, providing artery stent procedures free of charge. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony highlighted this achievement on Monday, stating that these procedures are part of many life-saving treatment options available at the hospital. Artery stent procedures are critical when a blockage occurs in an artery, a condition that can lead to heart failure and blood clots. Last year, the government of Guyana secured an additional catheterization laboratory, cath lab, to aid in diagnosing patients who require this procedure, significantly enhancing the public healthcare system's capacity to respond to cardiovascular diseases. Minister Anthony delivered his remarks at an event held at the Guyana Marriott Hotel. He noted that in 2019, the hospital performed this procedure for only 39 patients annually. However, thanks to robust training programs and increased investments, the hospital has significantly expanded its capacity to save and improve the lives of Guyanese citizens. At the Georgetown Hospital, when someone arrives at the emergency unit with a myocardial infarction (MI), they are diagnosed and then sent to the cath lab at GPHC, where they undergo an angiogram. Once we identify which arteries are blocked, if they need 1 stent, they'll get 1 stent. If they need 5, they'll get 5, Dr. Anthony explained. Last year at the GPHC, we treated close to 600 patients, and the year before, we saw similar numbers, he added. Minister Anthony emphasized that Guyana's healthcare system is advancing significantly with the introduction of new treatments, providing easier access to free healthcare. This aligns with the government's goal of reducing the number of Guyanese patients who must seek medical treatment abroad. He noted that with increased local capacity, patients receiving stents can usually return home within 48 hours after their procedure. In further efforts to enhance treatment for cardiovascular diseases, the government is currently in discussions with the George Subraj Family Foundation to develop a BMI organ bank. Minister Anthony stated that this initiative would significantly support kidney transplants performed by local surgeons.